So I think we discussed the first set first. Okay, MCQ set 1. Okay. We have 13 on 1. Okay. So let's go. Question number 1 until question number 5. Which one would you like to discuss? I belum bagi jawapan kan? I'm so sorry. Okay, the answer for this first set, or you already have the answer? Not yet, right? Okay, answer for number 1. Hold on. Answer for number 1, which is the question of, okay, douche and cool. Number one is okay, statement number 1, reasonable. Statement number 2, limited. Statement number 3, both as A, and statement number 4, limited. Okay. 1. Now we move on to number 2. Number 2, the answer, okay, 2, which 2 of the following? So the answer is A and B. You must pick both correct answer to get 2 marks. If you pick one correct answer, one incorrect answer, you get 0 marks. Question number 3. A. Question number 3, A. Okay. Question number 4. Statement number 1, false. Statement number 2, true. Statement number 3, also true. Question number 5. The correct answer is D. Okay, can follow? Now move on. Question number 6. Okay, number 6. Recalculation. Number 2, external confirmation. Number 3, reperformance. Okay, the next question. Which of the following option correctly ranks the audit evidence? Starting with the most reliable one, the answer is D. Question number 3, the correct answer are A and B. Okay, if I'm too fast, let me know. The next question is, this one cannot be used. This one is no answer for question number 4. Answer given is A, but we, okay, among the tutors for AA, we already looked into this question and we conclude that there is no correct answer. Okay, so this question cancel. Next, this question, the correct answer is B. Okay. Oh, it's about to rain at my place. Today is like so hot. Some more, I'm not feeling very well. I don't know. Okay, next, York and Cole. Question York and Cole. Okay, which 2? The correct answer are B and D. The next question is C. 1, 3, and 4. Okay. Next, okay, which 2 of the following substantive audit procedure for testing depreciation? The answer are B and D. Okay, number 4, the answer is 1.5 million. 1.5 million. Okay. Anyone get the wrong answer for this one? Should I lay out to you the calculation? Should I? Or everybody get the correct answer? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. All right. So this is the calculation at the disposal date. Accumulated depreciation would be 6 million times 0.05 times 7, 2.1 million. Okay, carrying amount for dispose asset, okay, at the time of disposal is 6 million less 2.1 million equal to 3.9 million. Okay, so proceed are 6 million times 40%, okay, equal to 2.4 million. Okay, therefore loss on disposal is 3.9 less 2.4 equal to 1.5 million. At the disposal date, accumulated percentage March, okay, is 40%. Is 40%. Okay, so loss on disposal is 3.9 million less. Okay, this is the calculation. Okay, give you a few seconds here. Okay, move on. This one, the answer are C and D. Okay, next. Got next, no more. Okay, I give you around, I don't know, 3 minutes. I hope that is sufficient, 3 to 5 minutes for you to go through your answer, compare it with the correct answer, and identify which one needs further explanation or further guidance from me, of course. Okay, so around 3 minutes for you to flip through and perhaps think of why you chose your answer and why the answer is what is as per what I've given you. Okay, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. For Willow Co, question number 2, can you give more detail on the most reliable to the less reliable audit evidence? Okay. So Willow Co. So you want to discuss this one, okay? Okay, done? Everybody done? I mean, have you identified? Okay, I'll go set by set, scenario by scenario, and let me know which of the question that you would like to discuss further. But you can type in the chat box so that I can refer to that later on, and maybe it's easier for you to, to note down which of the question you need further assistance. Question number 2 and 5 for Doge and Go scenario. Where is it just now? Question number 5. And the question number 2. Okay. Yorko is a third scenario, right? Yorko, question number 1. Okay, keep it coming, guys. Okay, it's in option B is more to check the existence of the asset. Okay. 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 Question number 4 and 5 is one. Number 4 and 5, you mean, so it's supposed to be which one? This one, I suppose?
The first scenario.
The first scenario, okay. Okay, done. Any other? While you are identifying your question to us, I just want to I tak tahu nak buat macam mana dengan I punya sesama ni. Yalah panas kan sama. Weh, komplain pula banyak. It's so hot lah. It's so hot sama apa tu, a flu sama. So, I don't know what to do. I drank a lot of water already. Take my medicine already. But, I guess I need to take more. Willow, question number 3. Where is Willow? This is not Willow. Question number 3. Also for Yorko, question 5. This is Yorko, right? Yes. Second scenario. Yorko, question number. Okay, guys. I think almost all question need further explanation. So okay, it's fine. So let's start lah. Okay. I suppose question number 1. Okay, number 1, no issues. An assurance engagement. Sorry, I think we have to recap back on the scenario. Okay. All right. So it is first July. You are an audit manager at Deutsch & Co, a medium-sized firm with several offices. As part of your role, you are responsible for undertaking procedure relating to the acceptance of new clients. Okay, so you are currently involved in the acceptance of 4 new clients. So I believe this is our potential client, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, the first client, Bradgate Co, has invited Deutsch & Co to perform a limited assurance review of its financial statement. Deutsch & Co does not provide any other service to the company. Okay, so if client requests auditor to perform review on their FS, meaning that it is a simplified, okay, so-called simplified versions of the audit, which should be no issues. I think I punya iPad ni tak ada bateri je. I think this client maybe would like to maybe apply for a loan kan, maybe bank require this company to be their FS to be reviewed. Maybe they are not yet up for still not meeting the threshold for them to be audited. Okay, so that's why they only requires review. Okay, so there's no issue there, I believe. Number 2, Trim Transport Co. The board of directors of Trim Transport Co have set target key performance indicator KPI to assess the company's performance for the year ended 31st March 2015. The board has asked Deutsch & Co to perform an assessment of performance to 31st March and to prepare a report for the board as well as to whether the KPI have been achieved. The board will provide access to books and records relating to the KPI. Deutsch & Co does not provide any other service to Trim Transport Co. So this client, they set KPI for their company and they want to publish lah. Hold on. Okay, I believe this is actually the AAA scenario. So usually company would like to publish their KPI results in their annual report. Okay, for example, like number of accident during the year, that is KPI kan? They want to show that they have a minimal number of accident, and maybe the reduced number of percentage of a toxic waste. Okay, so that is part of the company's KPI lah, and they want the KPI to be published in the annual report. So at this in this scenario relating to this Trim Transport Co, they would like request auditor to prepare a report for the board. Hold on. Okay, as to whether KPI have been achieved. Okay, so can we do that? Yes, but is it difficult? Slightly. Okay, later we look into question 1 on the issues. Okay, number 3, Keegan & Co, an existing audit client, is considering setting up an internal audit department. The directors are unsure whether to hire staff. Hire staff here means that they are going to set up in-house internal auditor, okay, or to outsource. Outsource means like engage third party okay, to carry out the internal audit function. Keegan & Co has approached Deutsch & Co to inquire as to whether it could provide internal audit service. Okay, so currently they are our audit client, and at the same time, they want us to provide IA as well. Okay, IA as well. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, next, Letico. Deutsch & Co has recently accepted a new client, Letico. The previous auditor, Cat & Co, resigned from the audits in May 2015. Deutsch & Co was appointed on 4th of June 2015. Letico is in early stage of legal action against Cat & Co for failing to detect a fraud. Okay, so this is our potential client. Okay, so question number 1. No issues for question number 1. Audit reasonable, yes. Lower level of assurance, yes, limited. Judgment is required to determine the appropriate procedure required to obtain this level of assurance. Judgment is required for all engagement. Okay, and then negative form of conclusion is provided limited. Okay, I think there's no issues for this one, quite straightforward. Okay, question number 2. Which two of the following tests would Deutsch & Co carry out as part of the limited assurance review of Bradgate post financial statement? Okay, number 1. All right. Before we look into the answer, okay, I'm just going to quickly recap to you here on what is the difference relating to the procedure when we carry out audits as compared to when we carry out review. Okay, audits, we are going to perform analytical procedure. Analytical procedure, which one? All those, compare this year and last year, compare actual against budgeted, compare the monthly report, monthly sales for the current year against prior year, compare the ratios for the current year against prior year. That one is analytical procedure. Okay, and then when we are performing review, we also do the same thing. Okay, it is applicable for both audit and review. Okay, next, we are going to inquire. Of course, everything will start with inquiry. We are going to inquire the management, we are going to inquire the warehouse manager relating to whatever that we want to know, kan? And we are going to inquire the trade receivable, inquire the accounts receivable executive for our trade receivable amount. Okay, everything will start with inquiry, kan? When you want to audit something, of course, first you must inquire that kind of the person in charge. This amount is relating to what? What is the nature behind this amount? And then after that, maybe they start to explain this amount is relating to this. Then after that, usually auditor will obtain. Okay, ask from the client, can I have a documented evidence? Is there any agreement relating to what you have said just now? Can I see the hard copy of those agreements? Okay, so everything will start with inquire first. Okay, so same goes with review. We inquire first. Okay, so what else for audit? Okay, so audit is a bit extensive in which we will inspect documents. Okay, this one also we will inspect document, but not as critically, not as critical as audit. I'll give you an example. In audit, when we obtain one documents, we are going to further verify the source of the document, the what else? The status of the document. Is this document accurate? Is this document legit? Is this document come from a reliable source? Okay, that is audit. But if review, we just simply inspect, some supporting document relating to whatever mentioned during our inquiry with the management. We are not going to critically assess the accuracy of that document, not until that extent. Okay, so what else for audit? Audit also, we are going to perform some observation. If you still remember, if you learn about using BPP materials, I want you to think of, if you still remember, AEIOU, analytical procedure, inquiry, inspection, observation, recalculation. Okay, we are going to recalculate. We are going to obtain confirmation. We are going to maybe physically inspect. Okay, on top of that, we are going to perform our TOC, which is not applicable for review. So if client requests us to review, mainly we are performing these two only. Mainly. But of course, I believe as a practitioner, as a chartered accountant, as auditor, we are not really happy with these two procedures. So that's why sometimes we request for the supporting documents. Okay, so review is a simplified version of audit. Therefore, which is why C&D is not part of the, C&D is not the correct answer. Okay, the requirement, which two of the following tests would Deutsch & Co carry out as part of the limited assurance review? Okay, on the financial statement. So are we going to perform TOC on whatever? Nope. Are we going to perform extensive test of detail? No. We are going to perform some, comparing as per this one. But are we going to extensively vouch for that amount? Are we going to extensively verify that amount? Not really. Okay, so that's why the answer is inquire and analytical procedure. Okay, inquire relating the large and unusual item. So perform AP to understand the relationship between item within the FS. Okay, so this is one need some memorization lah. Review, the main procedure is inquire and AP. Okay, done. If you still not clear on the explanation, do let me know. Okay, I will try to explain again or get someone help to explain to me, explain on behalf of me, because sometimes this is my way of teaching lah. If you cannot understand my explanation, I will ask my student to explain to that person. Student punya explanation kan is sometimes quite simplified in their point of view kan. So sometimes it's more clearer. Okay, question number 4. I believe this one no need. Okay, question number 4. Identify by clicking on the relevant box in the table below whether each of the statements relating to the possible provisions of Internet Audit Service to Keegan and Co. by Dodge and Co. is true or false. I think we have to recap. Keegan. Okay, Keegan is our audit client, currently is our audit client, and they approach us, okay, seeking for us to provide Internet Audit Service. Okay, so the question is a possible provision. Okay, let's have a look. The risk of Dodge & Co. assuming management responsibility would be reduced by using a separate team of staff who are not involved in the external audit. Okay, guys, internal auditor, this is a duty of the management. Okay, to set up internal audit. Internal audit, what is the job scope of internal audit? Basically, to evaluate effectiveness of internal control in the company. Okay, this is the main job scope of internal auditor. Of course, not only focusing on this, as internal auditor, their job scope is very wide, but mainly this, to evaluate effectiveness of internal control in the company. Okay, which is the duty or the responsibility of the management. Okay, so when they want to outsource to us, the third party firm, which is the firm lah, the audit firm. Okay, we are, if we are going to provide, to provide internal audit function to our client, okay, that is where there is risk of, we call it as a management threat. What is management threat? Management threat is something like tendency for the firm to carry out management responsibility. Okay, to carry out management responsibility. What I'm trying to say here is, if we become the internal auditor of this client, we might unconsciously taking over the management responsibility, which is not appropriate. This task is supposed to be the management task, and if we are the one who performing this, this task, there will be a management threat in which we might carry out a management responsibility. Okay, so now the question is, can you provide internal audit service to your client? The answer is yes, can. Provided, number one, Number one, different team. Okay, number 2 is you should, sorry guys. Let me just double confirm my answer. So sorry. Where is it now? Okay, betul. I'm correct. Okay. So number 1, we are going to use a separate team, meaning that from our firm, team 1 will perform the audit, team 2 will perform the internal audit. But that is not enough. Okay, we have to sign a separate engagement letter, in which in that letter we are going to highlight the responsibility of the management. We are going to highlight the responsibility of the management. Okay, which is guys, as an outsourced internal auditor, I can only provide, after I evaluate your internal control, I can only provide to you few recommendation on how to improve your internal control. However, I cannot make management decision as to decide which of the recommendation that the company should implement. Okay, so if I, as outsourced firm, I help the company to decide which of the recommendation to be taken up, to be implemented in the company, that is where, there's a management track. This one lah. there is a assuming management responsibility. You know, management track is basically the track that we are going to carry out management responsibility. So you put in your engagement letter, siap-siap, in advance, saying that as an third party firm, we are only going to provide to you recommendation on how to improve your internal control. However, we shall not decide for you on which of the internal control to be implemented, because that is your responsibility of the management. If I help you to decide, therefore, I am in a position of assuming management responsibility. Okay, so to manage this management, assuming management responsibility, it is not via separate team. Okay, this one is for the risk of self-review. That one is another matters lah. Okay, so to manage this assuming management responsibility track or risk, we should have a very clear engagement letter. Okay, so here should have a clear engagement letter lah, to highlight what is the responsibility of the management and the outsourced auditor. Okay, so that's why the answer is false. Okay, number 2, Dodge & Co should consider whether Keegan Co has appointed a responsible official to oversee internal audit activities. Yes. If we are going to take up the job scope of this outsourced internal auditor, we must make sure our client have in place responsible official to oversee the internal audit activities. Why? It goes back to our concern just now. Our concern as the outsourced firm would be, what if either I, consciously or unconsciously, make decision on behalf of the management. Okay, so that's why we want the client to have someone in place to oversee the internal audit activities, basically to monitor us, the outsourced auditor. Make sure we, as an outsourced firm, we do not make decision on behalf of the management. Okay, so that one is true. Yes, client should put in one. Usually it will be audit committee. Okay, this one is guys internal audit chapter 4. Okay, in BPP it is chapter 4. But if you don't have BPP, it's okay. Look into internal audit chapters. Okay. Number 3, the materiality of the FS amount affected by the internal audit service should be considered when evaluating the significance of any self-review track. Okay, so because, this is firm, we are performing audits and internal audit for the client. So if you still remember, during the course of audit, we are going to perform TOC, in which audit team here might rely on the work of IA here. Let's say IA perform review on internal control relating to the payroll. Okay, so the audit team might rely on the work done by the internal auditor, which happens to be from the same firm. Okay, so when we would like to evaluate the significance of the self-review track, okay, we should consider what is the amount affected here. So if the auditor would like to rely on the work done by the internal auditor relating to payroll, we have to consider how material is payroll to the financial statement. Because if we rely on this payroll, while this payroll is material to the FS, so the level of the self-review track is significant. Okay, so let's say this internal auditor perform review on maybe what? On accounts relating to I don't know, maybe legal fees. Okay, the internal auditor is just perform some internal control checking on how this company record the legal fees. Okay, and if let's say auditor would like to rely on the report done by IA, and let's say this legal fees is only 100,000, so it's very immaterial, kan? So yeah, maybe we can rely. Why? Because the amount is not so material. But if the amount is material, then maybe we want to consider again, should we rely on the work of IA relating to accounts, which is material to the financial statement? Okay, so that is the meaning of this. So that's why the materiality of the FS amount affected by the internal audit service should be considered, okay, when evaluating the significance of any self-review track. Okay, done. That one is for IA. This question is slightly, I would say slightly high level for internal audit. Perhaps because internal audit is quite easy, so examiner put in a bit difficult question. Okay, but in exam, if you come across a difficult question, please don't be demotivated. Remember to fight for every marks in exam. If you have to let go 2 marks in your exam, you have to find another 2 marks, which is, I believe, can be obtained from substantive procedure question. Okay, so don't be too stressed on difficult question, especially on MCQ. Then do your best for MCQ within allocated time, which is maximum 54 minutes only. Okay, and then just move on. Do your best for section B. Okay, next one. What is this? Which of the following, I'm reading the requirement here, which of the following would be an inherent limitations of the audit? Cat & Co lawyers argue that the firm failed to detect, this is our client, right? The firm failed to detect the fraud in the Letisco. Sorry, Cat & Co lawyer, this is, sorry, what's the name of our client? Letico, client is Letico. So Cat & Co is the previous auditor. Okay. So Cat & Co lawyer argued that the firm failed to detect the fraud in Letico financial statement due to the inherent limitations in the audit, and that it had, in fact, obtained sufficient and appropriate evidence to enable it to detect material misstatement due to fraud. Okay, so which of the following would be an inherent limitations of the audit? Inherent limitations of the audit. Okay, so Cat & Co was auditing the company for the first time and the business was new to them. This one, I would say this is a detection risk. If you still remember your equations of the audit risk, which is come from inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. So this statement is basically relating to detection risk, the fact that this is the first time we audit that client. Number two, due to the tight reporting deadline, Cat & Co had a limited amount of time to complete the audit. This again is a detection risk, not a limitation to the audit. Okay, number C, Cat & Co had relied on the truth of information given to them by the company's staff. No auditor, there's no auditor in this world would rely on the information given to them by the company staff. Okay, so if we did not do this, how come it is a limitation? Okay, we do not do this in the first place, so it is not a limitation of the audit. Okay, so the answer is D. The firm had used audit sampling in performing TOD, which is yes, we do this, and because we do this, there are certain limitations. There are certain flaws in which we might miss out those transactions which could indicate or which maybe could give us hint that something is wrong with the client FS, or we might discover fraud. Okay, because we are using audit sampling, we might miss out those transactions involving fraud. Okay, so this is why it is inherent limitation. Okay, done on scenario number 1. Now let's move on scenario number 2. So number 1, 2, 3, 4 is a wrong question. And number 5. Okay, I think this one is okay. So number 1, 2, and 3 only. Yes. Okay, so let's go. Okay, it is 1st July. You are an audit supervisor of Willow & Co. and you are involved in the audit of Ash & Co. for the year ended 31st May. You have been allocated responsibility for the audit of bank and cash and share cap. Okay, so we are audit supervisor and we are auditing these two accounts. Okay, so Ash & Co. has various accounts with 2 banking institutions. It holds a number of long-standing accounts with Silver Oak Bank, and a number of new accounts have been opened during the year with a Money Tree Bank. However, the management of Ash & Co. refused to grant Willow & Co. permission to obtain bank confirmation letter from the Money Tree Bank. You have asked for an explanation but have not received a satisfactory response. Guys, bear in mind, I would say this is a compulsory documents for auditor to obtain. Okay, so yeah, Ash & Co. is not giving permission for the banker. Sorry, Ash & Co. Yeah. It's not giving permission for the auditor to obtain bank confirmation. Okay. You asked for explanation but not received response. Okay, the area of the bank cash has been deemed as a high risk due to a number of errors which were found during the prior year audit. The audit engagement partner has therefore emphasized the importance of the procedure performed in this area of the FS. Nothing much. Okay, share cap, I think no need kan? Oh, you need. I think need lah. Hold on. Bank. Okay, no need. Okay, question number 1. Hold on. Okay, question number 1. You are reviewing the audit plan for Ash & Co. and have allocated a number of procedures to be performed on bank and cash to your audit assistant. In order to help your audit assistant perform the work, you want to give them more detail regarding the procedure. So which type of audit procedure is being demonstrated by each of the following tests included in the audit plan? Okay, so number 1, obtain the client bank record. Obtain the client bank record and cast. Okay, to ensure mathematical accuracy. Guys, cast is calculate, recalculate. So that's why this is the answer. Okay, number 2, obtain a bank confirmation letter from the Ash & Co. banker. What is confirmation letter? Confirmation letter is basically auditor is going to contact the bank directly, ask for a confirmation. What is the content of that confirmation? Basically, we are going to ask the banker how much is the outstanding balance relating to the loan, how much money this client have in the bank, what are the terms of the loan, is there any covenant attached? Okay, we are going to ask the banker directly. This one, we call it as a external confirmation. Okay, bear in mind also, we are not only going to obtain this confirmation from the banker, we are also going to obtain this confirmation from the customer. Trade receivable balance. Okay, we are going to ask the customer directly what is the outstanding balance that you owe our client. Okay, and then we are going to obtain confirmation from the lawyer to get a confirmation on is there any ongoing litigation action. Okay, and then we are going to obtain this confirmation letter from the supplier, our client supplier. We are going to ask them directly how much is the, how much our client owe you at the end. Okay, and then all this third party will reply to the auditor directly. Okay, on the outstanding balance lah. Outstanding balance, how much money in the bank, how much is the balance of the loan. Okay, this one we call it as a external confirmation. Inspect is more, I think inspect, I think because this is quite obvious here lah. Obtain a bank confirmation letter. So that's why it falls under the category of external, this is external, right? External confirmation. I would say inspection is more towards maybe obtaining internal document. Okay, yeah. Number 3. Actually, all the answer is in the descriptions of audit procedure already. Okay, so number 3, perform a cash count for comparison with the result of the cash count conducted by ASHCO. Guys, perform a cash count. As auditor, we are going to perform a cash count. That is part of the re-performance. Why re-performance? Because we believe at the year end, client already count their cash. Why? Because they want to put in the, I believe this is a cash in hand, as in, cash. Maybe it's a petty cash. We are not going to perform cash count for the money in the bank, no. This is mainly for the petty cash, the cash in hand. So client already count their cash in hand at the year end. Why? Because they want to post to their financial statement. So auditor is usually going to come in like few days after year end or few weeks after year end. Okay, so if we perform the cash count again, that is actually re-performance. Okay, and then yeah, if you think of like, why auditor count a bit late? Boleh je count a bit late. Then therefore you roll back lah. They have some logbook on the movement of the cash. Then you just reverse back to get back, the amount, is it accurate as per reported in the FS. Okay, so that one is re-performance. Inspection, guys, I believe inspections of internal documents lah, more accurate lah. Okay, so number 1, CAS is basically recalculate. When you obtain confirmation from the banker, that is external confirmation. And when you perform something, okay, when you perform something, that is actually re-performance. I think I want to highlight also here, okay, kat sini ada comparison kan. If let's say one of the choice of answer is analytical procedure, sebab I selalu cakap, analytical procedure ni is compare, right? Compare. But when you compare the result of the cash count with the FS, that is not analytical procedure. Analytical procedure is basically compare the bigger amounts, like the total for cash for the current year against prior year, the ratios for the whole year against prior year. If you are comparing, just comparing the total with the ledger, the total of something with the FS, that is not analytical procedure. That is just a normal normal tracing, normal vouching. Okay, analytical procedure ni is something when you compare like the total amount, but like by monthly, things I've mentioned just now. Okay, done. Question number 2, which of the following option correctly ranks the audit evidence starting with the most reliable guide? This is a very, very, very easy question. This kind of question came out in exemplary score. Okay, so number 1, the most reliable would be from the third party. We are going to rank the reliability of evidence. Okay, and number 4, which the most unreliable one would be usually some verbal. Okay, atas sikit, maybe we have written rep letter from the management. What is number 2? Number 2 is usually a document, come from document or whatever lah, calculation from the auditor. Then only maybe some document or whatever evidence come from the management. Okay, so this is quite fixed lah. All right, now, okay, this is all the evidence relating to bank. Okay, print out from ASHCO client. Oh, lama, I punya bateri dah nak habis pula. I think tak habis dengan tak ada bateri. Okay, print out from ASHCO online banking, the system provided by the accounts clerk. So it is somewhere in the middle lah. It is not very reliable. It is not very, it is not the least reliable. Bank recon prepared by audit assistant. Okay, so we know number 2 is slightly, better than number 1. Because number 1 is provided by clerk, number 2 is provided by the auditor. Nice. Number 3, result of the cash count performed by internal audits. So internal audit is, I think internal audit is, even better, lebih independent daripada accounts clerk. Agree? Because internal auditor, if you, I hope you go through internal auditor with your previous lecturer, the position of internal auditor is should be more independent than the normal staff. Okay, so that's why I squeeze number 3 in between. And then number 4, bank confirmation letter received from the banker, external party, should be number 1, always number 1. So that's why 4, 2, 3, and 1. Okay, 4, 2, 3, and 1. Guys, I think I have to take some drinks. 1 hour had passed. While I want to charge my iPad again. So why not we take a 10 minutes lah, around 10 minutes break. Okay, 10 to 15 lah, 10 to 15. After that we counting. Oops, dah habis battery. Okay, after that we continue. Okay, I will be back around 9 berapa? 9:70. I'm mengarut apa ni? 9:27. 9:27. Okay, before I go for a short break, do you have any question? No? Okay, so if no, I see you at 9:27. Okay, let's continue. Where was I? Okay, number 3. Which two of the following action should Willow and Co take following Ashco's refusal to allow Willow and Co to seek a bank confirmation from Money Tree Bank? Okay, so following action. This is quite a serious issue. Okay, as to apa? As to nak cakap apa tadi? This is quite a serious issue, as in if in a AAA point of view, it would trigger the integrity of the management. Okay, but in AA, let's have a look into the possible answer. So A, the risk of material misstatement, including fraud risk, needs to be re-evaluated. I would say this is correct answer. Okay, because the fact that they refuse to give permission for us, the auditor, to obtain bank confirmation is very fishy, right? When you first read the scenario, like, yeah, seems like there is something to hide. So when there is something to hide, or client put restriction on the auditor, so the question of fraud risk should come in. So that's why the first answer is A. Okay, number 2, the audit plan must revise an alternative procedure considered. Okay, guys, I think this is applicable for a real life scenario as well. Now, if auditor being put if client impose restriction on the auditor as to certain documents cannot be obtained, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. I know in the first place we already agree with our client that there is no, supposedly client should provide access to the auditor. However, still, if this happen, so actually first thing first that you should consider before you go hentam that client kan, is actually this. If you put this in your answer relating to these issues, relating to this scenario, then audit examiner would know that you are well informed on relating to this audit practice. Okay, so if client put in restriction, yes, B is applicable, as in the audit plan must be revised and alternative procedure considered. Okay, you should consider, is there any plan B? Is there any plan B? Okay, right. C, why C is wrong? A modified opinion, which is not a good opinion, must be issued on the ground that insufficient evidence is available. Okay, so all right, now if we did not obtain bank confirmation, still auditor can consider to rely on the bank statement. Still remember, bank statement and bank confirmation is two different documents, but the information in the bank confirmation should agree with the bank statement. Bank statement is not very reliable, especially if it is a photocopy version. Okay, because a bank statement is basically from the banker straight to the client. Okay, from the banker straight to the client. Tapi bank confirmation from the banker straight to the auditor. Okay, so that is the difference. Therefore, I would say, even though we did not obtain the bank confirmation letter, yes, your partner will be a bit mad lah. But still, there are other alternative documents that we can rely on. Okay, so that's why C is not applicable. Not applicable. Okay. Okay, next. D, send the bank confirmation request without authorization as the bank communicate directly with the auditor. Yes, maybe you can think of this kan. Why not kita senyap-senyap? We obtain the confirmation letter secretly. Secretly. Guys, we are the auditor. We are a professional auditor. Don't do things secretly lah. Do things openly. Okay, so this is not very ethical. This is not very professional for you to do something behind your client's back. Okay, so yeah, this is rather, for me, it's quite funny lah. Why would you want to don't do things behind your client's back lah. Okay, so this is wrong answer. That's why the answer is A and B. Okay, number 4, no correct answer. Number 5, I think you have no issues. Okay, let's proceed to third scenario. It is 1st July. You are an audit supervisor at York & Co. and you are involved in the audit of Lanchester Co. Audit of Lanchester Co. for the year ended 31st May 2015. The company owns a significant amount of NCA, including a number of properties. Okay, number 1, addition, disposal, and depreciation. Lanchester depreciates its property on straight line basis at the rate of 5% per annum. The draft depreciation charge for this year is 2 million. Last year was at 1.7 million. On the 31st May, which is at the year end, property A was sold for a sales proceed equal to 40% of its original cost. The property initially cost 6 million and had been owned and depreciated for 7 years. The audit program include the following tasks to be carried out in relation to the addition made during the year. Okay, so the procedure is agree a sample of addition recorded in the NCA register. Okay, to the agree samples of addition recorded in NCA register to the cash book and the invoice, ensuring that the purchase date is accurate and is recorded at the correct amount. Okay, fine. Number two, compare the budgeted addition to the actual addition in the year end, which is this is part of AP, analytical procedure. Okay, and investigate and corroborate any significant differences. Okay, so revaluation. So the company adopt revaluation model, I suppose. So on 31st May, again at the end date, the director had all of the company's remaining buildings revalued by an external expert. In the detail or the approach, it states that York & Co. will rely on this valuation as part of the current year audit procedure. Guys, this is actually relating to the subtopic of rely on the work of others. Rely on the work of others. Okay, so others here in AA, it could be internal auditor, it could be expert, and it could be a service organization. What is service organization? Service organization is basically your outsource function. Okay, because sometimes company outsource their accounting function, company outsource their payroll function. So the company which the client outsource that function to, we call them as a service organization. Okay, so during the course of the audit, auditor may rely on, sometimes rely on IA, sometimes rely on expert, sometimes rely on SO. So you as an auditor, you have to perform, you cannot rely on their work, on their report 100% without performing some review, performing some checking. Okay, I just want to, make sure that this area exists in your syllabus. Okay, so your the general answer would be, we are going to look into their independence level, their expertise, their experience, their qualification, how good is their internal control, is there anyone who monitor their work, is there anyone review their report. Okay, this is all the general points on what auditor should do, aka audit procedure, before placing reliance on the work of others. Okay, all right, so question number 1, which two, hold on. Which two of the following audit procedure would test for overstatement of Lancaster Co. non-current asset? Guys, overstatement is equal to which assertion? Overstatement means that? Overstatement means record something which is not supposed to be recorded. So I would say this one is relating to existence. I think existence assertion. Completeness, no. Right, okay. Yeah, I write first, then I will then we will see if it is applicable for this scenario. Okay, and evaluation. Okay, now number 1, agree disposal recorded in the NCA register to the cash book and sales invoice. Okay, agree disposals recorded in the NCA register to the cash book and the sales invoice. I don't think this is applicable to you really checking on the NCA, because when you obtain the disposed asset, then you vouch to the cash book. Mainly you want to see what is the sales proceed relating to this disposed asset. And cash book is basically the money in and money out. So this is disposal, so this is relating to money out, and yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the NCA amount, relating to the PPE amount. Okay, so this one I think not applicable. Number 2, physically inspect a sample of asset selected from the NCA register. Guys, the keyword is here. So the auditor, the first document that they look into is the NCA register, and then from that NCA register, they go physically inspect. Therefore, it is more towards to ensure whatever recorded is really exists. Okay, so yes, we want to make sure that they exist, because if they did not exist, then asset is overstated. Okay, so we want to make sure that they exist, because if the company records something which is relating to asset not exist, therefore the records are overstated. So of course we want to make sure it exists, and it relates lah with the risk of overstatement. Okay, berapa pula anak I nangis tu kat bawah tu? Hold on. Number 2. Okay, next. Inspect a samples of asset found at a location and agree to the NCA register. Guys, C is actually the opposite of B. Instead of we start from the register, now we start from the premise, from the physical, physical asset that we found. Simply pick any physical asset in front of our eyes, and then make sure it agree to the register. Guys, this one is for us to check on the completeness. Completeness is relating to, okay, when we check for completeness, we are ensuring that there is no understatement. I want you to imagine There are, okay, there is one machine in front of you. Okay, you look into that, you look at the machine, you saw like one ID number of that PPE. Okay, and then you trace to the NCA register. Where is this ID number relating to that machinery just now? Then you find, you cari kan, you cari dalam register, tak ada. That means NCA is understated because they omit the recording of that machinery just now. Okay, that's why the answer is not C. And D, inspect the conditions of the asset held to determine the need for impairment. Okay, to visualize this for you, you go random lah. Random, you pick one day for the auditor. You pick one day kan, as auditor, we pick one day. We told our client, let's go. We jalan-jalan in your premise, in your factory. Okay, and then you saw that there's one damaged asset. Okay, so damaged asset, which you inspect the condition of asset lah, and some asset you notice that it is not in a good condition. And then you are going to ask client, did you impair for this? Have you impaired this asset? Have you impaired this machinery? If client did not impair, meaning that their NCA is, or their PPE to be specific, is overstated. Guys, this concept right here is examiner's favorite. It may not be tested relating to NCA, but it is tested around, it can be tested on any accounts. I think as a student you would spend a bit more time in this kind of question, because you have to visualize, and this procedure is relating to, for you to check on overstatement or understatement. Okay, so this concept here is examiner's favorite. Dia boleh tanya you, which two of the following procedure would test for understatement of Lanchester Co receivables, understatement of Lanchester Co payables. Then you have to filter out which of the procedure relating to, which of the procedure meant to catch your client understating their trade payable, for example. So in this question, which of the procedure meant to catch overstatement of the PPE? Okay. Miss, is this question regarding SP chapter? Yes. Yes, it is relating to SP chapter, relating to, yes, exactly, SP chapter. And a bit on the assertion. Next. So if you get this question wrong, then I would say please look into your procedure. Okay, when we talk about procedure, I think I would like to give you, but I don't know whether you can understand or not. It is my notes. This one. Relating to, this is all my SP, but I don't know if you can appreciate these notes, but because it's just a notes kan, you tak dengar I cakap. Okay, so never mind. I'll just extract these notes for you, which is my masterclass notes. Any issues, then you can. I think some of it you can understand. Some of it may be a bit hard for you to understand. Like this one kan, what is this kan? Inventory report. I mean, what is this? What is this? So just take whatever that you found useful and ignore those, like some scribble like that. You ignore lah. Okay. I just want you to focus on the, maybe you would want to look into the SP, okay, SP relating to the so how to read my notes. Okay, let's say this one is substantive procedure relating to payables. Okay, so there's some notes here, and then all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 to 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 7, 8, 9, 10 is actually your procedure, substantive procedure. Okay, remind me to extract that notes out for you, but I cannot guarantee that you will understand 100% because there's a lot of scribble. What's wrong with my Zoom? But anything, can just ask me. Okay, let's move on. Question number 2. Which of the following assertions are tested by the procedure included? Which of the following assertions are tested by the procedure included in the audit program for addition? Okay, so this question is testing on the assertion. Assertion, guys, COCCA and CREV. Okay, this one is for the SOPL item. This one is for SOFP item. So additions for PPE, it's SOFP item. So the applicable assertion would be CREV. Okay, so now let's look into procedure. Okay, number 1, agree a sample of addition recorded in the NCA register to the cash book and the invoice. Ensure that the purchase date is accurate and it is recorded at the correct amount. Is it relating to completeness? Not really. Is it relating to rights? There's no rights here. Is it relating to existence? Not really. Apa ni? Sekejap. And V, valuation. I think accuracy lah. Accuracy, valuation, and allocation. Okay, is a must from procedure number 1. What about procedure number 2? Compare the budgeted against the actual addition and corroborate any significant difference. Okay, all right. Now, when you compare, okay, guys, same as per question number 1. Examiner love to test you on this, but this one happens to be just on the additions of PPE. But I've seen a lot of questions testing on the same concept, but on different accounts. Okay, what I'm trying to say is a question is the same, the concept to apply is the same. So examiner just change on the accounts only. Okay, now, procedure number 2 just now. Compare total budgeted addition. Okay, compare budget with the actual addition. Or compare this year and last year PPE. Tak kisah, it doesn't matter what you compare. Okay, just now is comparing budgeted versus actual. Okay, now, let's say the budgeted addition is 1 million. Suddenly, the actual addition is 2 million. As auditor, bring in your questioning mind. What do you think of this 2 million? Is it accurate? Is it accurate? Budgeted only 1 million and actual is 2 million. It's double the amount of budgeted. So when auditor bring in their questioning mind, of course, auditor would think of, why so high? Why so high? Therefore, there is risk of overstatement. When there is risk of overstatement, we are going to think of what if those new assets did not exist? What if the company record PPE which does not exist? How else can we think of this risk of overstatement? Okay, this is the usual thinking process of auditor lah. Why so high? Legit or not this figure? Does it really exist? Or are they double record this additions of PPE? Okay, therefore when you compare budgeted and actual, you can verify existence. It will trigger for you to check on the existence. You are testing indirectly, you are testing whether testing the existence lah. Testing on the risk of overstatement. Okay, now I change the amount. I change the amount. Budgeted is 1 million, but suddenly actual is 0.5 million. So therefore, now the thinking process is slightly different. Why so low as compared to the budgeted? Okay, maybe perhaps there is, you bring in your questioning mind, professional skepticism. Maybe there is risk of understatement of the new PPE recorded during the year. If understatement guys means something is not complete, not completely recorded. Certain new additions of PPE not being completely recorded. That's why the figure is understated. Maybe. Kita belum perform procedure lagi. Okay. So when you compare, it could trigger, perhaps there is risk of completeness as well. Okay, so when we comparing budgeted and actual, then we can detect the risk of completeness and we can detect the risk of existence. So that's why the answer is 1, 3, and 4. I believe procedure number 1, okay, to check on the correct amount, relating to accuracy, relating to valuation. Okay, so what is number 4? Classification. Classification is mainly for SOPL item. Yeah, there's no classification here. So I would say number 2 is inaccurate. Okay, now. So examiner, sometimes they ask you relating to the same. Okay, I give you examples. Question like this. Which of the following procedure test on completeness assertion? Completeness assertion. So A, B, C, D. Okay, this one wrong answer, wrong answer, wrong answer. Suddenly D, compare. Compare current year against prior year. Guys, this is one of the correct answer. Or if examiner asks for one answer, then this is the correct answer. Because when we compare, we are actually testing on the completeness and at the same time testing on the existence. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, which of the following procedure tests on the completeness of trade payable or trade receivable or PPE. It doesn't matter which account. When you compare ratios, compare budgeted against actual, okay, again, for completeness and existence, both are applicable. Okay, next, question number 3. You are now considering substantive audit procedure for depreciation across all categories of non-current asset held by the adjuster code. Okay, we are testing on the depreciation. Okay, so which two of the following are SP for testing depreciation? Okay, so A, review the NCA register to ensure that all assets are assigned a useful life. If I am a student, I would KIV this. Like, not very satisfying lah to me. Okay, because why? Because perhaps not all asset use, using straight line methods, or maybe what if the company have land which is a non-depreciated PPE? Okay, so I would KIV this first. Okay, number 2. Perform a proof in total for the depreciation charge of 2 million included in the FS and investigate any significant difference. This one is a clear cut. This is the correct answer, number 1. Now, I know some of you don't know what is proof in total. Okay, so what is proof in total? Proof in total is basically auditor is going to calculate independently. Okay, number 1, auditor will calculate independently. on the expected depreciation. Based on what? Based on the data in NCA register. So auditor have all the information in NCA register as to what is the cost, what is the useful life, when is the purchase date, what is the what is that? Okay, never mind lah. But yeah, from all the data, auditor will calculate independently what is the expected depreciation for that year. Okay, and after that, number 2, then only compare with compare with SOPL, depreciation in SOPL. Okay, so if a difference is not much, okay, consider as to pass lah. Okay, if we calculate independently, let's say we get 2.1 million, and then we compare with the SOPL figure, we notice that 2 million. Okay, so the difference is only 100,000. Okay, so maybe we can conclude that this figure is accurate because it is more or less the same as our calculation. Okay, so this is the applicable procedure when you want to test for depreciation. Guys, if you notice here, nampak tak ni compare? First, we calculate independently, and then after that, we compare with the client's figure, meaning that we are comparing our figure with client's figure. Okay, so therefore, proof in total is actually part of analytical procedure. This is actually part of the analytical procedure. Okay, take note on this. Alright, C, review the board's minute meeting for evidence of approval of useful life. This one also I will KIV lah, because, approval only, it doesn't really ensuring that depreciation amount is correctly recorded in the FS. Okay, D, discuss with the management the reason for the 300,000 difference in the current year depreciation compared to the prior year. Okay, and I think this one is a solid procedure as well for depreciation. Discuss with the management the reason for the 300% differences in the current year depreciation compared to the prior year. Okay, so I think A is not really solid procedure as well, because by looking at whether all the asset has been assigned useful life doesn't really bring any meaning to accuracy of the depreciation charge in SOPL. Okay, so A is not very strong. So the answer is B and D. Okay. Question number 4, I think okay. Question number 5. In respect of the valuation, which two of the following statements regarding reliance on the external expert are true? Okay. Reliance can only be placed with an expert. Okay. Okay. This is the reason lah why discussing MCQ can be lengthy, because each of the question is talking about different subchapters. So have to recap back kan. I hope by us discussing this MCQ, we would briefly touch across the whole syllabus of AA, and if you perhaps it gives you some indication as to which area you haven't covered. Okay, and top up your knowledge lah. Okay, now auditor, relating to auditor, rely on the work of expert. Okay, now expert. In the point of view of auditor, there are two types of expert. Number 1 is management expert. Number 2 is auditor's expert. Number 2 is auditor's expert. Management expert means expert hired by management, aka client. Okay, auditor expert means hired by auditor. What is the real life situation? Sometimes if the client itself, okay, let's say they are involved in a gold mining. So client themselves need to hire expert to help them value the inventory as at the end. Okay, or maybe your client is in construction of the buildings. At the end of the year, they would want to know what is the value of the buildings, especially for those which is under progress, buildings in progress. So the client itself would hire expert. Okay, so that expert we call them as a management expert. Okay, now auditor's expert. Okay, let's say auditor is auditing gold mining client, and auditor either auditor notice that the client have no expert, meaning that the client did not hire any expert, or client hire expert, but the expert is not reliable, is not trusted by the auditor. So auditor will go ahead, hire their own expert. Okay, so alright, so which one is more reliable? Of course, this one, auditor's expert. But is this expert, is it not reliable at all? No, still reliable, But after we perform some checking on the background, qualification, whether they are independent from the management, what are their expertise, what is the basis used by the expert, okay, then only we are going to rely. Okay, now, apa ni? Okay, so read A. In line with ISA, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to memorize this. ISA, reliance can only be placed on an expert appointed by York and Co. York and Co here is the audit firm, kan? Is it? Yeah, meaning that auditors expert. Reliance can only be placed with expert appointed by the firm. Is this true? No. We can still rely on the expert appointed by the management. Can rely, but after some background checking, after some verification. Okay, so that's why it is wrong answer. Now, number 2, obtain the valuation report would constitute sufficient and appropriate evidence over the carrying amount of the buildings. Oh yeah, this is relating to the buildings, right? Okay, so this is your client. They have buildings valued by expert. Valued by expert. Okay, this expert will generate a report. In this report, it will list down lah. Buildings number 1, how many million? Buildings number 2, how many million? Building number 3, how many millions? Okay, this is a valuation report or expert report. So statement B is stating that, is saying that, is it true by only obtaining the report would constitute evidence is sufficient and appropriate? In a layman terms word is actually, is this report alone enough? Is this report alone enough for the auditor to value or to verify the revalued amount? Okay, is the report alone sufficient? Okay, the answer is no. No. Auditor will obtain this valuation report. Auditor will read. Auditor will focus on the basis for the basis used by the expert in revalue the buildings. Let's say I give you examples. In the report here, stating that again, there's a basis. Okay, the valuer mentioned here stating that we revalue the buildings based on the market value, and it is in line with the current selling price of the buildings next to it, something like that lah. Okay, so the value is the basis for revaluation. Sorry, the basis for the revalued amount is based on the buildings next to it, which is sold in the past few months. So they use that basis lah to come up with the revalued amount. So auditor have to read that basis and verify and bring in judgment as to whether the basis is appropriate or not appropriate. Okay, so yeah, B is wrong lah. You are not going to obtain the report only, but you have to read the report, verify who is the valuer, what is the relationship between the valuer and the client, this valuer got qualification or not, got license or not to operate, and so on. Okay, so B is wrong answer, therefore the answer is C and D. Okay, now let's go through C. Reference to the work of the external expert should not be included in the auditor's report. Yes. Have I? Okay, this is auditor's report for 7-Eleven. Okay, I hope you already see auditor's report. Okay, here we cannot mention that we rely on others. We cannot mention when here we rely on the internal auditor. We cannot mention that we rely on the work of expert. We cannot mention that we rely on the work of anyone. It is because it is our report. So we cannot say that according to the work done by expert ABC, we cannot do that. It is not professional because auditor's report is our report. So what is our opinion is our opinion. We cannot push that accountability to someone else. We cannot push the credit to someone else. We should not do that. Okay, so that's why C is correct. D, the objectivity of the valuer. Yes, objectivity here is independence. Is the valuer independent? Okay, must be assessed before you place reliance on the report. Guys, maybe this is client, this is Mr. Lim. Okay, client, right? Okay, so they hire expert, and this is Madam Low. These two is friends for over 10 years, or cousin, or father and son. Okay, so that's why we must assess objectivity. Objectivity here is independence. So if client engage expert which happen to be their son, their daughter, so they are not independent lah. Okay, expert is not independent. Okay, so that's why the answer is C and D. Finish. Oh, good. Okay, so yeah, it took about around 2 hours to discuss one set only. But okay, it's okay. Usually the first round we discuss it's a bit slower. Then after that we can go a bit faster. Okay, have you done MCQ 3? Have you done MCQ number 3? Have you done MCQ number 3 or not yet? Done. Okay, okay, good. Okay. Let's I want no okay, you chill first. I want to search for the answer for MCQ 3. Okay, I think MCQ 2, I'm just provide you with the answer. Any issues, you WhatsApp me. Okay, or you can ask in the group, and when I reply, then others can read that explanation as well. Okay? Okay, so give me some time. Okay, you chill first, you scroll Facebook or Instagram first, and then wait for my cue. Okay, hold on. Okay, guys, let's go. I'm going to share the. I want to change my screen for a while.